Hi everyone, I welcome you all to our podcast series. And today I am Chavi, your podcaster of the day, back again with yet another podcast. Now you would be thinking that we are going to talk about the workforce management, but how and who would be our amazing guest speaker to talk about this amazing thing? So for that we have a very special guest with us. We have Vikas, who is the head of solutions at BPM and ITES at Intellicus Technologies, and he would be sharing some amazing knowledge. So, with that, I welcome you, Vikas, to our podcast series. How are you doing?
Thank you, Shavi. I'm doing all great and hearty. Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot. So, before starting, would love to know how you started your journey and how things are going in the present time.
Oh, that's a good question. So, Shavi, you've been into this industry for over 22 years. Right from the time that GE incepted the contact center industry in India. That's the time when I started off my career with the BPO industry, and been into this industry for over 22 years. Um, and then actually took a step towards moving into Intellicus, because I wanted to get into a space of problem solving solutions for the BPO sector. I'm aware of all the nuances that we kind of face in the BPO industry, um, most often, because being into all of those functions and all of those areas. And yeah, looking at the kind of market size it has, definitely there's a lot of possibility for it to be scientifically driven rather than the conservative approach that we currently follow right now.
That was amazing to hear. So, that was amazing. So, one thing which comes to my mind in the present time, would love to know that like let's talk about the workforce management, right? When we talk about this, one thing which comes is how the market of WFM is currently in India, and is it huge or is it just very small right now?
Okay, so India market for business process outsourcing, if you look at it from the last surveys that have happened, is valued at about $7 billion. That's primarily for the India market. Um, the growth rate that it is expecting is about 10% year on year, which means that by 2027 we should be hitting about a $9 billion market size for India alone. Um, and India, comparatively to the global market, also has the biggest share. So definitely the market size is quite big here.
That's actually great. And also, according to you, how workforce planning happens and how is it actually useful for the business perspective, if we talk in that thing?
Your answer lies in the question. Workforce planning, I would say, is the most important process for every business. Um, Look at it from a perspective of the key roles and responsibilities that the workforce management team today has. Right from responsible for the planning of the future, is basically the major task that the workforce management team has, and then managing that and maintaining the performance for the business, and becoming a bridge between the customer and both internal and external customers, and making sure that the interest of both the customers are being maintained. That's a critical task that a workforce management team today does. Um, if you look at it from a process perspective, it's a process through which business can access the historical performances, and then look at it from a analytic standpoint and understand how my future demand would behave. What are the kind of requirements that I would have for people, skills, And how is it that I would want to transform that set of information into actions for various functions to make sure that the delivery is met? Now that is important, right? Um, as I said in the beginning, right? Less than 10% of this industry is managed scientifically, and rest 90% is still following the conservative manual process, right? It's time for them to now move towards adapting to the advanced solutions or technology that can empower them to become the leader. And trust me, today, the type of talent India has, it's all about us taking a leap forward and understanding the importance of moving towards digitization. The, the marriage between the both would be doing wonders to this industry sector. And at Intellicus, um, for the flow WFM, we want to capture 20 to 30% of that space, of that unscientific space. Right? And that is what our aim this year is.
That's actually great to hear. And like in your point of view, how would be like the future of WFM would be? Because like everyone is having like some of the companies are having hybrid mode, and many of the companies are working 100% remote. So will it be a game changer?
Good question. Post COVID, um, the industry has taken a shift, right, in terms of its behavior, in terms of customer management, um, the overall requirement. It's becoming more dynamic, right? The end consumer behavior is changing, because of which, their customers' behavior is changing, and because of which the BPO also has to adapt different ways and methods to meet those type of requirements, right? Now, how is it that a WFM solution can help in optimizing um, the most valuable part, which is the resource? Ultimately, we all have to understand the BPO is a people's industry, and got to deal with people, right? So, and another part which is equally important for us to know is that probably BPO is the only sector which today is generating the highest amount of data every day, every hour. There are trillions of transactions that are happening every hour. So look at it from a perspective that so much power of data that has to be used in order to actually optimize the processes, and also look at how are the different methods and methodologies that are adapted to meet the new way of businesses working today. In as far as the data basically will help them to predict what the future would look like, because there are changes of what was happening pre-COVID to what has happened in COVID and post-COVID. There's a change, right? So how is it that you're able to utilize that kind of an information, and you're able to get the right information for your business to be planned more efficiently? And that's the key. Assessing of the staff and the skill set basis that requirement, what kind of skill set is needed. How is it that you would want to ensure that this, you're able to get benefit of the right skill set to be allocated at the right task for the right time. That's important. And then, all of these, would actually lead to enhancing the CX, because if you have the right person for the right task, what kind of workload you have to attend, what kind of targets you have, you're well prepared for it, you are proactive, and you are able to foresee various scenarios in the future. You're able to go ahead and enhance the customer experience. because you're able to deliver what is required for an end consumer, and you're able to optimize the resource and the performance both. So that's the kind of balance that has to be maintained now. And I think it's time that the BPO industry moves from the conservative to the contemporary mode.
Exactly, that's so true and apt at the same time. And according to you, how does a WFM solution help in optimizing the most valuable resources?
I've just answered that. I'll just quickly summarize it for you. As I said, um, you can get the benefit of any skill set or any resource. You can only optimize it if you know where to fit that type of skill set and when. If you are able to go ahead and look at um, a perfect scheduling process to be followed, which can match the kind of requirement that the business has, that's where you're able to go ahead and get the right combination, and you're able to give the right results for your customers. And that is all possible through the data that today BPO generates. Now, the limitation that we live in is the data are silos. We have limitation in terms of utilizing the length and breadth of data. Therefore, there are a lot of assumptions that we build in, right? When we're not really getting away with that approach, and therefore resulting in a lot of compromises that we do in our overall scheduling process and overall customer management process.
That was great to hear that. As we are talking about the solutions, what are the actual four stages of a WFM solution? How it should be planned?
Now, data science is another AI ML. Is the top of the topic today in the industry, and they're more concentrated on how is it that you would want to leverage AI ML to its best potential, and specifically WFM is the right use case because the kind of complexity the workforce management deals with, because every business has its own requirement, it has its own factors, it has its own variables, it has its own seasonality, it has its own trend. So, you cannot have a one-fit-all solution, right? You've got to go ahead and make sure that you're able to understand the unique requirement that every business has, and you're able to go ahead and adapt to it. Auto ML is one other, important factor that the WFM solution today looks at. How is it that you're able to exploit machine learning to its best potential, which can actually meet different requirements of different businesses, right? How is it that it can actually understand the type of transactions that the business is going through, and what are the kind of right approach that it has to follow for the prediction, both short term and long term. And then look at giving the power in the hands of the workforce management team to create different simulation scenarios, because they are the leaders, they are the ones who've been into this industry sector much before the solutions have been brought in, right? Let's understand, when we started off our BPO journey way back in the year 2000, we did not have any solutions at that time. Pretty much everything was happening by hand. So, we were conservative. So, definitely that's the kind of experience these leaders carry with them. So, how is it that you would want to empower them to use it more scientifically? That's where the capacity planning, or the overall method of bringing in their human intervention in the overall planning cycle is important, right? And then today, getting them away from all of the non-value adds, in terms of data collation, data compilation, and then identifying outliers, and then becoming bringing in reactive measures and reactive actions. That is something which is definitely a non-value add. So, you need a method and a solution and a way that you're able to go ahead and provide them the real-time analytics, provide them real-time alerts, actions, so that they don't spend time in data analysis, but they're more focused upon being more productive and more valuable to their business, right? That's where I think these are the four areas that a WFM, whenever they want to adapt to any solution or any technology, these are the areas that they should be concentrating upon.
Exactly, and also I would be very happy if you could put some light that how Intellicus WFM solution is different from its competitors in the present state.
See, look at it from a perspective that every business in BPO is unique, right? It has its own requirements. And as an organization, as a solution, we want to focus to leverage the requirement that every business, has, and want to understand the challenges they face, right? That is where our concentration is. Um, and we focus on solving those challenges through our solution. So, it's not one fit for all. That's not the approach, right? While we would have our standard solution available for all types of business segments, from small scale to large scale BPOs, um, but we still think that the WFM champions out there, they become our pioneer, and we partner with them to solve what has not been solved for them yet. And that is where our USP is, and that is where we're actually concentrating upon. Now, let me just talk about some numbers for you, right? Now, after implementing the WFM solution, right, the business can expect a profitability increase, and it can be anywhere in the range of about 15% to about 30%, depending on the type of business it is and the scale and volume that it is handling. The CX index can be enhanced through the skill-based smart allocation that we provide. Um, the non-productive task, the non-value add task, we attempt to eradicate that completely, which helps them which helps them basically in um, freeing up about 40 to 50% of the resource time, right? And that's huge. Today, if an individual is spending about, say, 4 to 5 hours only doing the data management task, look at it from the perspective that you're able to save that time. How productive that individual can be for other tasks that is more valuable for you, right? Um, we've catered to a lot of industry use cases, right? BFSI being the biggest one, and it's quite dynamic, right? E-commerce, telecom, DTH. Um, Now, each of these are either omni-channel or they are, an inbound kind of a scenario. Um, but we concentrate in providing a unified experience across channels for our customers, so that they can use the solution in a more effective way, and it can actually give them the kind of um, experience they need for their business, and it can help them achieve the ROI for their business.
That was really great, and the insights you shared were amazing at the same time. Thank you so much, Vikas, for being here, and I really loved hosting you today. And for the viewers, I have actually added his socials in the description below. It would be really great if you could connect, because it would be really very much informative for you to have a conversation with him around these things. With that note, thank you so much. It was really, really lovely hosting you today.
Thank you, Chavi. Thank you so much for your time. It was really great interacting with you today.
Thanks, Atan. And for all, stay connected, stay tuned, and I'll be back with such an amazing podcast episode. Till then, take care. Bye bye.